let's take a look at the Week 6 injuries we're tracking, because this is a big list, especially with all of the buys as you try to fill out a lineup in fantasy. It's not easy right now. Derek Carr with the oblique. It's trending towards, obviously, Spencer Rattler, as we've mentioned all week. Aaron Rodgers with the ankle. He's going to play on Monday night, but that is a low ankle sprain. James Cook, not much going on in practice the first 2 days for the Bills. I know he was working off to the side yesterday. That is one you want to watch all the way up till game time, because it could be the Ty Johnson or Ray Davis show. Travis Etienne Jr. with the shoulder, Alvin Kamara with the hip. Brian Robinson did not practice on Thursday with the knee. Again, he missed 2 practices last week as well. We'll get more into that one as well as Jonathan Taylor here in just a second. Joe Mixon. Malik Neighbors is still in concussion protocol right now. He's got to get some kind of form of practice today, and that would mean he cleared concussion protocol to have a chance for Sunday Night Football against the Bengals. But let's start with Jonathan Taylor, because he did not practice Thursday. He's dealing with a high ankle that has been, there's all kinds of varying degrees the way they've described this. The bottom line is he's not practicing, and we heard from Jonathan Taylor on the injury update with the latest.
I'm feeling way better, which is a positive sign. Anytime you can progress throughout the week, you're closer to getting back on the field.
What's the biggest difference you're feeling?
Number one, definitely pain level. Just has gone down tremendously. That's the biggest thing. Ankles are nothing new to me. Just thankful it wasn't as bad, as before or anybody else's kind of ankle. So for me, going through that regimen, going through that process, attacking it, knowing how you should feel each day, knowing how you can kind of move things along a bit from, little tips and tricks that you learn through dealing with the ankles.
Matthew, JT sounds optimistic. Now, that might not mean much. We'll see. And one other note here, Trey Sermon with the collarbone injury, he was a full participant in Thursday's practice.
Yeah, that's a good sign. We'll know a lot more later today, and I would encourage everyone to tune into Fantasy Football Pregame Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, all the way up into kickoff on Peacock and the NFL and NBC YouTube channel, because we'll have all the latest here. But certainly feels like I never want to trust a player. Players are always like, oh, I'm going to go. And it's just like, it's not their decision. Right? It is the team doctors, and they will do what's in the best interest of the player, not what's in the best interest of the team. They will make sure that the player's health is paramount and front and center. So feels like it's probably another Trey Sermon day here, but certainly something to watch out for with Jonathan Taylor. A couple of things that you mentioned real quickly on some of those injuries. Malik Neighbors isn't going to play this week. I'm just calling right now. I don't know if you saw the report from yesterday. He is in the same stage of the concussion protocol as he was last week.
To start the week,
the fact that he hasn't progressed at all is just a really tough sign as well. And I've heard from some little birdies. I would be shocked, beyond shocked, if Malik Neighbors plays this Sunday. I went to look to see if Darius Slayton was available in any of my leagues. Of course, Fantasy Life commenter has them in the League of Assholes, because it is a league filled with assholes. There's nothing available on the waiver wire. It's awful. But for somebody like myself that has a ton of Malik Neighbors and a ton of Rashee Rice this year, I'm down bad. I just would like everyone to feel bad for me in fantasy football. Eventually, one of these years, something's going to work out for me in fantasy football. But at the moment, with the injuries to those 2 big players, it's been tough. It's been tough sledding for your boy over here.
Oh, man, just phenomenal, Matthew. Yes.
A lot of whining.
Yeah, a lot of complaining. To be fair, I have my fair share of complaints. But I have been sniping Matthew on players at an alarming rate.
Xavier Legette?
Yep. When you spend big, you win big. Yeah. That's how it goes.
That's right.
You can't take the fab budget with you into the summer and spend it on anything else. People forget this.
Yeah.
So.
I might. That might be my lot in life is to do that as well. I know we're going to talk about Brian Robinson coming up a little bit here. But I just think really interesting, and I'm really glad, Connor. I hope people were watching yesterday's show, because we mentioned the James Cook injury. We've mentioned it throughout the week, that, when we prefer Ty Johnson to Ray Davis in terms of if Cook is going to miss. But, that one just feels bad. Just bad vibes to me, Connor. And I don't have any inside information on James Cook, but it feels. Now, again, it's the Monday night game, so we'll know more this weekend. But I don't know what you guys feel like. It just feels like bad vibes on that one.
I agree. It's going to be right down to the wire. He has the extra day, so maybe they push him, and this offense needs him right now. We know that much, but he's not doing much at practice, and that is your starting running back that the offense basically runs through at this point.
Absolutely, given the weapons for Buffalo. I think they were exposed. They've been exposed the past couple of weeks against the Ravens and the Texans. How are you feeling about the Jets' run defense, though, which has been a little bit better after that really rough game against Jordan Mason in Week 1, but lacking in personnel?
Yeah, I would start Ty Johnson. Revenge game, by the way, for Ty Johnson. If James Cook was down and I had a desperation flex situation because whether you had somebody on probably the Bills, probably James Cook, and you need to play somebody, I would be comfortable starting Ty Johnson against the Jets' run defense. The Bills, Josh Allen, dreadful week last week. They're going to try to run the ball, hold the ball, and keep the Jets out of it on the road. So that's where I stand with that one. Brian Robinson, Matthew.
I was just going to say one other thing that I think, just one situation I just want to highlight real quickly that I don't think was on our full screen. Again, I'm in Alabama, so I can't see it. But the Cincinnati Bengals running backs, Zach Moss returned to practice yesterday in a limited fashion, which is nice. But Chase Brown was suddenly added to the injury report last week again. So I think, yesterday. Chase Brown was added to the injury report yesterday. So just, again, something to sort of think about that as obviously the Sunday night game right here on NBC against the Giants. But you would like either one and possibly both in a flex scenario, given with 4 teams on a bye this week and the injuries out there. You would like both guys, I think, in a flex scenario if they're both playing, but there's a chance one or both of them are not available for the game against the Giants on Sunday night. So just something to keep an eye on.
Jay, Brian Robinson did not practice Thursday. He didn't practice Wednesday or Thursday last week. This is looking like a game-time decision, though. This doesn't have the same vibe as last week where it's, hey, we're resting him, his knee's bothering him. And then Austin Eckler was a full participant in Thursday's practice, but he has had a heel injury pop up as well.
Yeah, and it's not even if Brian Robinson does go, he's going up against what has been by far the best rushing defense in the NFL. The Ravens allowing just a 26.6 rushing success rate, which is by far the best in the league. And also the Commanders are 6.5-point dogs in this game, so you wouldn't expect the game script will favor Robinson even if he does play. Matthew, any intel or expectations around what Washington's running back situation will be?
Yeah, my guess is it'll be honestly a 3-headed committee because we've seen them get some good production out of Jeremy McNichols along with Eckler. I do think this is a bigger Eckler game. I prefer Eckler to Robinson this week. It's worth noting, though, on Brian Robinson, if he does play, like I was a low-end RB2 this week because I think there's still a chance. Game script shouldn't favor him. It's a tough matchup. He's banged up. But there's always a chance that he falls into the end zone. This is a power running team. It's one of the reasons why Brian Robinson was on the preseason love list. It's one of the reasons why my bold prediction was double-digit touchdowns for Brian Robinson this season because he scored in 4 or 5 games, right? He's got the second most. He's tied for the second most goal-to-go rushes in the NFL this year. When the Commanders getting close, Cliff Kingsbury likes to run, and when they're running, they're usually running with Brian Robinson. He's scored in 4 of the 5 games. So even though it's not a great matchup and he's banged up, there's always a chance that Brian Robinson can fall into the end zone and get you a touchdown. He's also used in the passing game a little bit. Not the way that Eckler is, but he's got a double-digit percentage target share. So, again, I have Robinson as a low-end RB2, but today will be a big day in terms of a telling day in terms of whether he can practice.
One more here, Matthew. Joe Mixon with the ankle was officially limited for Thursday's practice. Good to see Mixon get some kind of work in. Dameon Pierce has been dealing with the hamstring for a while. He practiced in full on Thursday, so a crowded backfield where we know when Mixon's healthy, he's the leader, but a crowded backfield without him looks a little busier right now.
For sure. And so, if Mixon were to miss again, it would be, Cam Akers and Dario Gumbawali. I'm not worried about Dameon Pierce. But it feels like just the fact that he returned to practice in a limited fashion, if he gets in a full practice today, then I don't think you can start any Texans running back that isn't named Joe Mixon.
For more on the latest injuries, of course, tune in with the guys, Fantasy Football pregame on Sunday for all the game time decisions leading right up to kickoff.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and Rotoworld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Rotoworld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.